Hello and welcome to the Day 2 recap for Season 3 of the Rekef League. So, things took a little bit longer than expected. We actually maxed out the number of days that we have per match day in Division 3, where we're going to start today. The other two divisions are already on match day 3 for a while now, but we will of course just concern ourselves with day 2 today. So, let us take a look at the schedule, because there are two unfortunate results here. So first off, the Biscuitville Farm Union, coached by Jeff McBiscuit, is going to drop out, which is why Red Undead Redemption got awarded a win by concede. They were unable to set up their match and all that stuff, and Jeff McBiscuit decided to leave the league at the end of the season, so the win was awarded to the Undead team. The second match where that is basically the case is Tall and Shiny versus the Woodwind players. Here, Tall and Shiny actually wins by concede, so they started the match and then the Woodwind players conceded during. So that's the I can't remember the right word right now. It's the fact basically. So the Woodwind players, coached by the Storyteller, are also dropping out, unfortunately. But on the upside, we do have two reserve players in store already, basically. So we are going to welcome a Necromantic team coached by Francolino, who was first on the on our waiting list. And then somebody else contacted me privately through the G-Man League where I'm playing, and asked me if he could join if a spot opened up, and now that's the case, so we can get him in. So I don't really know yet what he is going to play, but we will sort that out, and that's why we will confirm all of this, then confirm the round, but I don't really know how this will work out in case of kicking the teams that dropped out and getting the new teams in, so the schedule will change a bit here. But let's validate the matches because of that real quick. Next we have the Grimdark versus the Brittle Brutes, where the Brittle Brutes won, so a victory of Norse over Skaven, but level up for the Rat Ogre could be potentially very good, and the Skaven actually got a pretty decent amount of SPP in terms of injuries, as it looks. So they definitely got something out of that match. And last but not least, we have post-up Pamela Springsteen versus Triple Nelson, and here Triple Nelson won 2-1 as well. So Dark Elves against Dark Elves, and Dark Elves won over Dark Elves. And yes, that was on purpose, of course. And they actually, wow, that's quite a lot. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 injuries against none, apparently. Sounds rather unpleasant. But yeah, that is the state of affairs basically in Division 3. It's a bit unfortunate that it happened, but it's probably better that it happened this early in the season than later in the season, so the new teams that are going to join don't have that big of a disadvantage to begin with and should be able to somewhat keep up. So let us take a look at our leaderboard because of that. So we do have our last two players who are going to drop out. Next we do have the Peacock with 2 losses as well. Bogue, Starkweather and Graba have 1 win and 1 loss so far. And then we have Lynx, Marauder Shields and Axino in first place basically right now. So there are some trends, but with 2 teams dropping out, there's still a lot left to be done, and we will see how this develops in the future matches. There's still a lot left, basically. So let us confirm the round and just take a look at the next schedules, but these are obviously going to change because actually this is kind of perfect, because both of the players that dropped out are going to play against each other, so the 2 new teams will have their first match against each other, so that's kind of perfect actually. Aside from that, we have Tall and Shiny against Triple Nelson, so High Elves versus Dark Elves. Tall and Shiny was High Elves, yes. Let me check that real quick. Yes. Okay. That is going to be another elf match. Then we have post-up Pamela Springsteen versus Brittle Brutes. So, Dark Elf versus Norse, which leaves us with Undead versus Dark Elves as... Nope, not Undead. Yeah, Undead, Skaven versus Undead, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, so let's see if the Skaven can recover here. It's not going to be easy against the Undead team, I think, but I'm interested to see how these matches are going to turn out. And as I've said, one of the new teams in all likelihood will be Necromantic. I'm not sure about the other one yet. But ideally it won't be Norse or Skaven, once again, because we do already have a lot of teams in the entire league. 3, I think. And I'd also like it to not be Dark Elf, because we do have 2 Dark Elf teams in the division, which would be unfortunate if we go up to 3. I would like to avoid that. But I asked him so far what he wanted to play, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So we'll sort that out. So that is Division 3. So on to Division 2, where we are promptly going to ignore everything that has been played yet. They are already pretty far into it already again. So we do have, I still don't know how to pronounce this, although I should know the translation by now, but I've forgotten. So we've got Norse versus the Gentleman's Gentleman, that's humans. So Norse versus humans. 2-1 to the Norse. Then we've got the Nice Guys TM win 1-0 over Steven Spielberg and co. That is Chaos versus Lizardman. Oh, that's a surprise, maybe. Both teams don't start with a lot of block skills or ball handling skills whatsoever, so this probably was a pretty interesting matchup. And could have gone either way, but I think I probably would have given it to the Lizardman, usually. But that's, I mean, it's how it can work out sometimes. Next up, we have Ratatonic, who lost 1-2 against American Snuff, so that is Skaven versus Dwarfs? No, Norse. American Snuff is Norse as well. I'm starting to get the teams by now, slowly but surely. And then we have Just a Blork in the West versus the Boneyard Hillbillies, so Orcs won 1-2 against Undead. So a little bit of a bash fest there. So yeah, as you can see, the round was already validated, and 3 out of 4 matches have already been played again, because once all of the matches have been played, I just like to confirm the round and move on to the next, because it gives people more time to schedule their matches and it gets less hectic. You're not forced to play more than 1 match per 2 weeks if you can't, but it gives you the possibility to, which is why there's a little bit of a discrepancy that might get larger during the season. So there's that. And unfortunately, this will let's see, can I? No, I cannot. This will kill the leaderboard a little bit, because there have already been 3 matches played, so it's not that useful to look at that anymore. But there are some trends, and the Orcs have won every match so far, and all that stuff. But there is still a lot of room, and there's a lot of wins and losses. No draws whatsoever in this division so far. So this can still change a lot. But I'm interested to see how it will turn out in the long run. So that is Division 2. To make it short, there's really not that much to talk about, basically. As things are running smoothly there. And we can move on to Division 1, who is in the same position as Division 2. Only here, there's less matches being played. Okay, so let us take a look here. We do have the Greywood Guardians with a 2-0 win over the Big Bogan Brigade, so High Elves won over Skaven. Next, nope, the Big Bogan Brigade. Wait, Chaos, not. I forgot. Ibres rerolled his team to Chaos, so we do have Chaos there. So next we have the Skaven, who lost 1-2 against the Trailer Trashed, so Dwarfs. And that's a pretty rough matchup for our Skaven newcomer. Ooh, the Dwarves already have been developing a bit, so this is probably Not as brutal as I assumed it would end up being, but it doesn't look good. So this is probably an injury, another injury. So still 4 injuries, I think. Yep, 4. But yeah, was probably a pretty rough match. Next up, we have the Pondosaurs, who beat Longfinger Jacks by 1-0, so Lizardmen versus Bretonians. And last but not least, we have myself. It's a numbers game versus Aoku's Avenge Orcs, and here I managed to win 4-0. That was kind of an odd match because my Wood Elves were unreasonably brutal, so I just beat him, which it really shouldn't happen. I think I injured 4 of his players or something like that. And playing down a few players against elves always bad, but if it's that much, it just gets worse. So it was a really rough match for Aoku, and that turned into this result. I think there was a blitz in there somewhere as well, so all that fun stuff. It really was pretty one-sided in that regard. So there has only been 1 match played for the next, but we basically can somewhat ignore that, because that was Rob who won his 3rd match, so we know that he will go down to 2 wins. So it's Dave, myself, and Rob with 2 wins right now. Then we have the High Lord Salt and James Typhoon with 1-1, as well as Ibrass, Rab, and Aoku with 2 losses each. Also no draws so far, but there's still a lot open and a lot left to be done here, and we'll see how this turns out. I've actually forgot to take a look at the schedule for day 3 for the Division 2, but since most of the matches have already been played, I think it's fine as it is. So let's just take a look here, because there's only been 1 match played. We do have the Longfinger Jacks against the Bogan Brigade, so Bretonians versus Chaos. Then we've got Dwarfs against Orcs. That's going to be interesting, I think. And then we've got High Elves versus Wood Elves, so myself versus Dave. I'm looking forward to this because Dave's team has been really... He's gotten a lot of nice level ups, so his team is really coming along, and High Elves get scarier the further they get in terms of development. So this is going to be very interesting, I think. And then we do have the Skaven versus Lizardmen, who has already been played, and Rob managed to win his 3rd one. Okay, yeah, so that is pretty much it for our recap. Once again, there's still a lot left to be done in all divisions. It's a bit unfortunate about the 2 players dropping out in Division 3, but I'm very happy that we can replace them right away. It's going to lead to a little bit of a delay in Division 3, because I need both players ready to enter before we can advance, really, or maybe not. We'll see, but it's... we're already a few hours over the deadline, basically, so I will have to get this going on Reddit so that they are all aware that they can start playing their Day 3 matches. So, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this recap. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, and if you want to hear more about the Rekef League and see more games being played, just, subscribe and stick around. So, thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you tune in next time, and have a nice day. Bye!